All right, welcome to episode 84 of Adventures in Inbetweening. Today I am looking at another episode of Harvey Birdman that I animated on back in the day, 2005 I believe. This is episode 30, season 2, Mindless. Got some good stuff here.
The mole, it's back, Avenger. Get the mole! Get the mole!
Not a mole, more an abrassssion. Retractor.
Oh, that's a cat scratch.
It sure is. And I'd say she's a southpaw kitty. Well, you know what they say about single guys with two cats.
No? What? It's not good.
Say, you wouldn't happen to know what they say about a single guy who owns two cats, would you?
What are the charges? That's outrageous! And I'll tell you one thing. I refuse to live in a community where possessing the ability to incessantly groom one's nether regions is grounds for arrest.
Okay, some silly stuff here. First of all, let's look at the silhouettes in the storyboard. Always very solid, and that solves so many problems. I've pretty much adhered exactly to the silhouette in the storyboard, except for you can see I've got that elbow a little bit in front of the desk there. Otherwise, it's all just taking what's there and building on the solutions that were presented. A lot of Harvey Birdman is just hitting a funny pose with the body, and then eyes blinking, moving around, emoting, and lip sync. Now here Peanut's going to come in, you can see by the storyboard. Comes in and again, this storyboard here is super clear, it tells us everything we need to know. Here comes Peanut in fast, not a lot of shape change on him, it's more about almost panning him in, overshoot and settle. That was the whole thing about this, the animation style in this show is anticipation, overshoot, settle. Birdman gets his arm out of the way so Peanut can come up. Peanut's hand is ready with the mask there to pull that up. Now you can see in the boards there was actually a camera pullback, but we avoided doing that. We just kept everything nice and tight. And here in the boards you can see Peanut's putting his mask on, so we got to get that to happen. Anticipate that hand down, bring it up quickly, pull it up, just have one finger looped around there, get the mask on, pop, there it is. Nothing too fancy. And he can keep talking, the lip sync continues, so we just have a couple of lines moving there. Now as the hand comes off, immediately popping that hand open, and the hand's going to go open into the next gag here. Overshoot and settle down. Here comes Frida Kahlo in. She's got the retractor that Peanut's asking for. And boom, hits the hand, lets go of it. All about the hands here. So much about hands. That was the other thing in this show. Drawing a lot of hands. I had to get good at drawing hands in this show. I was terrible before the show started, and I was about adequate after I was done working on this show with drawing hands. Now, Peanut's going to do what here? We don't even know. This is all about confidence over competence. That's another theme in this show. As long as you're acting like you know what you're doing, cool. And you can see this incredibly crowded, busy composition. Frida's got her damp cloth up there as if Peanut's, going to do some kind of major surgery. And just really clear compositions within that one composition. Now here we cut to Harvey Birdman. Completely different head, nothing, continuity was not a priority on this show. Again here, we cut to Peanut. If Peanut was leaning forward with the mask on, with the retractor. We cut to the next shot, Peanut's standing back here now. Completely no concern about continuity. And you know what, when you watch the show, it doesn't really jump out because it's all on this really nice beat. We've got this terrific acting. And look at the arm here. You can see just technically the arm's on a separate layer. So nothing else moves. It's just the arm moving. And from an animation point of view, of course, that's faster. And it's imitating the old way that animation was done in the 60s. It was, for TV animation anyway, it was all very limited. Again, just hitting on the lip sync here. Oh, she's a southpaw kitty. Matching the boards really solidly here again. Funny composition. We've got Avenger flying in here. There we go. And Avenger's going to land and settle. Now Peanut, just as Avenger stops, we're going to hand off the ball. Here comes Avenger's stop. Now Peanut's going to start moving. There's always something going on. It's all on a beat. Peanut's going to turn, pop. Now a lot of times with these models, we had some drawings that were done ahead of time in Flash. And depending on how much time we had, we would redraw a lot or a little. And if you've got somebody like Peanut with the wings and he's turning, that's a lot of redrawing. So we want to go with what we've already got as much as we can and just basically say, okay, I'm going to anticipate, and on the fast motion, I'm going to turn really quickly. And that's what's going to happen here with Peanut, going back, pop. That's what we do. We didn't have a drawing ahead of time with the wings facing the back fully, and it comes down to time. If we have time, great, we'll do it. If not, We just got to move on and maybe come back to it. Now here's the joke further with Peanut was pulling down Frida Kahlo's shoulder part of the dress there, and anticipation overshoots settle, and say, just really clearly showing he's doing a portrait. Here we're matching the boards again with Harvey. Really simple stuff. The eyes and the mouth moving. All about the composition, anticipating back. And he's saying, no, what? What about a single guy with two cats? Overshoot and settle. Get him into the next pose. Now here, we've cut a few frames, or a few shots ahead. Calling back the previous joke again. Focusing on my hands here and my lack of ability at the time to draw hands. So then we've got this new pose to work towards in the storyboards here. And Harvey's turning and saying, say, you wouldn't happen to know what they say about a single guy who owns two cats, would you? And overlapping the head, getting a little bit of animation principles in there. Getting the finger, moving forward, settling back, just selling that dialogue as much as we can. Then now in this next shot, what we're going to do, so there's 3 shots in a row here. And Harvey's anticipating up here with the finger, making an accent on a would you for the single guy with 2 cats. Now we cut here, and it's a very similar shot. We cut away to something else, now we cut back to Harvey, and you can see the background is just slightly shifted there. And a lot of times there's an advantage to it that it feels kind of like a live action shoot, where you shoot a bunch of coverage and then you just edit it back and forth, back and forth. In this, though, in animation, it actually just saves time, because we're using the same background, we're using the same character. Cut away again, use a new shot here, and again, just setting up the Flash files, animating in Flash. It was basically you just paste the background in, paste the character in, go from there. Actually have continuity here with Harvey. He's it was drawn on the boards, and we figured, okay, let's go with continuity. And you can see Benny the ball here. Look how thick the lines are on Benny compared to Harvey and Peanut. And it was just the style of the show. Whenever you had characters from different shows come in, we would retain their style. So if they had really thick lines, they'd have thick lines, even though they're in a different world here. This pen bouncing, that's outrageous when he slams down the pen. Boop, boop, boop. They did a really great job with the sound cues here. This scene here, the client, I'll tell you one thing. I refuse to live in a community where possessing the ability to incessantly groom one's nether regions is grounds for arrest. The client just asked for that one pose that's in the board the entire time. And I remember I animated it that way, and Harvey's talking for like 8 seconds in this one pose, and I was just, I can't hand this in. There's nothing going on here. There's so little going on. So I just had to add something in. So I'll tell you one thing. I refuse to live in a community where incessantly possessing the ability to groom one's nether regions is grounds for arrest. And I love that pose that they put in there. That's all fine. But I needed to add something else. And it was the first thing I came up with. Well, if I've got one hand up, then let's get both hands up. And then we'll go back to the one hand. And never heard anything back from the client on it. I guess they liked it. It was just so limited, though. And it's overshoot and settle. Get those same principles in there. It's odd to have a show where the client is asking for less rather than more. But as a result, it was a pretty low-stress production. Creatively, we got a lot of ideas in there. It was just like say, so well timed out with the boards, so composed so nicely. The voice acting was top-notch. Terrific stuff. Harvey Birdman, I miss you. And that's my breakdown for today on the last episode of Harvey Birdman I'll be breaking down. Thanks for checking it out. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.